Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We have arrived at the end of John's Gospel. Today, we're going to look at chapter 21, verses 20 to 25 in John's Gospel. And this video is being prepared to be broadcast on the morning of Wednesday, February 2nd of 2022. 2222. All right, that's fun to say. We have spent quite a bit of time on this. I'm not exactly sure how long we've been on this. I didn't go back and look, but I did notice that this video will be video number 959 on my channel. And there are a lot of videos there, lots of different studies of different books, and there will be more. I'll be adding more every day, pretty much every day, 6 days a week. So take a look and see what you find there. There are playlists showing the different books, the different studies, and we'll be next going to the Gospel of Matthew. That will be starting either Friday or Monday. But at any rate, John's Gospel. We have gotten to the end. We left off with Jesus and Peter going off on a walk. So Jesus says, "Follow me." And they had just had the fish on the Sea of Galilee on the shore. Jesus has just reinstated Peter, went through the three "Do you love me's" to correlate back to the denials. And now they're taking a walk, so to say, and following. There's someone following behind them who we don't know who it is, and that's the item of discussion, perhaps, but not what we don't want to be. It is an item of discussion for me, but don't let that become a discouragement, and don't let it become a focus for you, and don't go, "Oh, Pastor Roy, you're crazy, and I'm not going to listen to you anymore because you said that." Don't do that, please. We can have disagreements on certain things, especially things on the authorship of the Gospels, because none of them are internally designated as to who wrote them. John's Gospel, nowhere does it say, in John's Gospel, contrary to what some may say, nowhere does it say that John, the disciple John, or even which John, wrote this gospel. It's not designated. The author was anonymous, and he wanted to be anonymous. And as such, there isn't even necessarily the preface that the beloved disciple wrote this, because at the end here you'll see that he's died as we read this already. So he couldn't have possibly, just like Moses couldn't have written all of some of the books attributed to Moses, because Moses is dead at the end of the books. So we have the same issue here. So without further ado, let's look at John 21, verses 20 to 25. Talk about him a little bit more. Peter turned and saw the disciple whom Jesus loved following them. He was the one who had reclined next to Jesus at the supper and had said, "Lord, who is it that is going to betray you?" When Peter saw him, he said to Jesus, "Lord, what about him?" Jesus said to him, "If it is my will that he remain until I come, what is that to you? Follow me." So the rumor spread in the community that this disciple would not die. Yet Jesus did not say to him that he would not die, but if it is my will that he remain until I come, what is that to you? This is the disciple who is testifying to these things and has written them, and we know that his testimony is true. But there are also many other things that Jesus did. If every one of them were written down, I suppose that the world itself could not contain the books that would be written. Okay, and again, as we mentioned at the end of 20, many scholars, if not most, believe the 21 was written later and added. We know that this end isn't written about it because it says, and we know that his testimony is true. The person that's writing that saying, reflect about his, identifying as the other person. It kind of gets confusing there, but in the Greek, I think it's clearer there that he's talking about the beloved disciple as being the other. Pointing away. And at least that's the way the New Interpreter's Bible Commentary interprets that, and I will go along with that. I agree with that. So someone else at least wrote these last verses, at least this last paragraph, than the disciple that was beloved. I do believe it was James. I've said that before. I believe that because I don't see Jesus stomping all over Jewish tradition and belittling his younger brother by turning over the care of their mother to another person from outside the family. He most certainly would have given it to the next eldest son. He would have assigned that, and that would be James. I do see some support for James also in the fact that this is the Johannine community, which is a Jewish group of followers. These guys seem to be following the teachings, the tradition of this beloved disciple. And thus, that would, to me, James was teaching up until his martyrdom in 63 in the temple, and he was a very, pushing a very strong Jewish form of Christianity, much more Jewish than what we practice today or that Paul was pushing. So these guys were more Jewish in this Johannine community. We need to remember that. So to me, there is a interlocking of those two ideas. Something I've never really talked about to other friends of mine that are scholars, but I will be talking to some of them about this. I wish Jesse was alive, my mentor Jesse Brown. I definitely would talk to Jesse about that. But so at any rate, it doesn't really matter who wrote John's Gospel. The important part is the story of Jesus' life, and it's brought down to us. He didn't necessarily want you to know who he was because he didn't say who he was in the letter. He didn't spell it out. So why don't we stop worrying about it? Because we're humans and we worry about argue about the silliest things. At any rate, here at the end of this, I think the message we need to take away from this is Peter's just been told, you're going to die this horrific death, buddy. And now he looks and sees this other disciple, the beloved disciple that's following along, coming with them. And he's saying, well, what about him? Why does he get off so easy? Because somebody said you're going to let him live until you come again. And so Jesus says, don't worry about him. Worry about the path I've given you to walk. And I think we can take that, there we find some extremely good life application. Because as a pastor, it's pretty easy as a pastor to look at another pastor and say, why has he got such a large church following? Why did one of his people give him a Rolls Royce? I don't know that anybody did, though I do know of a minister that got a Mercedes. Was a woman, though, not a he. So it's easy to say, why them, not me? Why have I got to walk this hard road, these hot coals? But you're giving this other one, this grand and glorious, and he gets to stay till you come again. No, he doesn't, because he dies. So there's no one waiting in a cave for the second coming of Jesus. I actually heard somebody tell me that one time, and that there's not some old guy with a beard to the floor waiting for Jesus to come again that's going to come out of a cave. That's just not going to happen. He died, and he had that explain why he died here. But the point again is that we can become jealous of someone else's ministry and their job. It's the whole thing about like the hand and the foot and the eye and all of that. The body of Christ, we're made for different journeys. We're made for different ministries. Some are more glorious, and some are grander. Some get more flash and bang, and then others, and some are just in the trenches working. Most are in the trenches working. And so it's like, don't worry about them, Jesus is saying. It's not up to you. The potter can make a simple plate from the same clay that he makes the fancy pot. And so it's not your decision on what task I've given to you. You just need to be faithful to the task and understand that your task may in the end be more impactful to the body than all the others. We don't know. Peter, obviously, worrying about his martyrdom. We don't even know who the beloved disciple is. We can argue about that. We know who Peter is. So don't worry about what I've given to the other guy. Don't worry about that. Just do it. Do what you're told. Do what you're sent to do. Not necessarily told, but what you're sent to do. God has a plan for each and every one of us, and we need to be faithful, and we need to have faith. We need to believe that we are all in this together, and we are all in this for the same reason, to spread the gospel of Christ, the love of Jesus. We can disagree on authorship, we can disagree on a lot of other things, but we remember and we're faithful to the ministry and the mission of spreading the love of Jesus, and that Jesus will in fact come again. And that time is when it's coming. Lots of people telling me in the last few days, even more than normal, that the second coming is coming. I get videos sent to me by my friends almost daily, that the second coming is coming again and soon. And I'm always saying it's one day closer. That's all I know. My job is to live today like he's coming tomorrow at 3 o'clock, or maybe even early in the morning. Who knows? 3 o'clock p.m. If he ever comes at 3 o'clock p.m., remember I said that. But the point is that we just live every day like tomorrow Jesus is coming. And that's our ministry. That's our mission. And we pull together. We all work together. We don't squabble over details like this. And we don't get hung up on looking for signs either. That to me is a waste of time. That pulls you away from the focus of doing the work in the trenches. So let's stay in the trenches. Let's keep working. Let's keep loving one another. That is the greatest commandment, is to love each other, to love God, and to love each other like you love yourself. Love your brother. God bless you all, and that's the end of John's Gospel. I am going to talk about the I am statements. We'll do that tomorrow and the next, perhaps. I'm not sure. Might get through it all tomorrow. I still am working on that. Have a blessed one and be a blessing to someone today. We'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.